Hey guys, it's JStarWars360 here with number 10 on my top 11 list of top 10 favorite characters from Avatar: The Last Airbender. And in any great show, you need a great villain. And Avatar promised us a great villain. They built him up over the course of 2 seasons, and in season 3 we finally got to see him, and it looked like, and did he deliver on all the hype and build up that was promised in this epic conclusion to Avatar? It was good. I am talking about the Fire Lord himself, Fire Lord Ozai. And again, he's low on the list because, again, not because he's still on the list because, he's a good villain, but I feel like he was a little overhyped. Now, let's start with why he's good. What makes Ozai a good villain? Number one is the fact that he's voiced by Mark Hamill. That alone is awesome. I mean, yes, there are some points when you can hear the Joker voice, but it's still good. Sorry, I blanked out for a second. It's still cool to hear it. I like how there's one thing I like in his build-up, is that you're expecting someone really evil and over the top, but when you see his face, it's kind and sympathetic, which kind of plays with your expectations, because if they built him up and made him super ugly and evil, I'm taking a page from Doug Walker, but I agree, it would have been disappointing, like Smaug was disappointing, but it's the complete opposite of what you expected. So he can play the kind, sympathetic father, and really deep down he's a monster. And the monster part still comes through too, which is kind of cool. And this guy is a monster. I mean, he screws... I mean, they even call him that at one point. Zuko even calls him that at one point in the show. And he does some pretty mean stuff. I mean, he burns Zuko's face, challenges him to an agony tide, burns his face when Zuko refuses to fight him, and even though Zuko's being honorable, banishes him, screws Uncle, favors Azula, trains her to be a bitch, then has her hunt down Zuko and the uncle. And then in the finale, he comes up with a super diabolical plan. To burn the world, break the Earth Kingdom's spirit. And even after the series, he's still dangerous. I mean, I'm kind of cheating a bit because I'm talking about the comic books that take place after The Last Airbender, but before Legend of Korra, where he's kind of manipulating Zuko. But yeah, he was a really dangerous villain. And on top of that, he's also badass and does some amazing action in the finale. Again, he's low on the list, and to an extent, maybe I could have put him on the bottom, but he's still awesome. But yeah, he's low on the list because, again, he is disappointing. They build him up so much. I mean, there's a silhouette of him. Aang's constantly worried about facing him. He has nightmares about it. I mean, everything Aang does is leading up to this showdown with this villain. And his character's not that interesting. I mean, it is interesting. He's still threatening, but there are other characters in Avatar, other villains who are way more interesting, way more developed than, especially Azula, who's a great villain, and Ozai should have been even more badass than her. And Ozai was alright. Like, again, I wish they had gone a bit more over the top of him when, he's being evil. Like, he should have been the mother of all bad guys. And he was alright. He was good. For what he needed to do in the story, he served well, and it doesn't ruin the show. But again, for someone who's built up so much, I would have expected more. But for what we got, he was still pretty good. I still really enjoyed him again. Smaug was a bigger letdown for me than this guy. And hopefully Legend of Korra is a better main villain. But again, as it stands, he's still good. He was still awesome enough to make it onto my top 11 list. Surprisingly, even surpassing Suki, although, again, some debate on whether or not I should put Suki higher. And yeah, that's all I have to say. So, did Ozai live up to your expectations? Let me know. And stay tuned for the next installment of my list, which I might do right after this, or I might not. Depends on what I feel like. But yeah, so stay tuned as for number 9 when I next do it. See you then.